All right. I'm Tim Wilde, and these are my wild thoughts on episode 6. From the Desert Comes a Stranger. I've now watched it twice. I did the first part of this. I did of my live reaction slash watch through of this episode because everyone's like, "Oh, it's gonna be so amazing! Everyone needs to watch it." And I watched it, and was it amazing? No. Okay. I'll just mention really quickly a few things that I like. The spoilers, in case anyone didn't know, I was going to talk about spoilers. Um, Someone commented on that on my last video. Anyway, here's the thing. I love Luke Skywalker. Okay, Luke Skywalker. Let me see. Up, up. There, those are all my Lukes. He's my hero, right? And whatever, I have other pieces everywhere. Who cares? I love Luke Skywalker. He's not my superhero, but he is my favorite hero. Now, Luke Skywalker, when I see him in live action, when he came in at the end of The Mandalorian, I was like blown away. I was so excited. I was jumping up and down on the couch. My kids were sitting there watching me. Like, even before they revealed it was him, I was like freaking out in complete shock. That wasn't done, or the CGI and everything wasn't as good as it is in this, and I was still just way more excited because of what was going on story wise and how they did it. In this, Luke's kind of a dick. I watched it twice now. He's a dick to animals. I mean, he was a dick to animals in the Rise of, or the whatever it was, the Last Jedi, and in this he's a dick to animals. He's like lifting and dropping frogs in the water, just screwing with them. Like, and I don't understand the lesson in that, other than he's like showing Grogu the potential of how many frogs he could eat later on if he mastered telekinesis. And then when he's doing his jump, and he jumps and lands on the back of that space water buffalo, and then like jumps off. I'm like, dude, just why does he need to attack or jump on the animals? Now, my whole thing with this story wise is like the story behind the training sequences, it didn't make sense. He's asking questions like, have you ever heard anyone talk this way? Or do you know, or do you remember where you're from? Do you want to learn? Like, he's having this conversation just walking down the path in the forest from their morning meditation or whatever, when from the events of the last episode of The Mandalorian, we kind of established he's been out bounty hunting for a little while. Like, Mandalorian's gotten back on the job, and he's doing things. Luke's been with Grogu for a little bit of time, so for him to suddenly start having these conversations and be like, do you know anyone like yourself? Do you remember where you're from? Like, I was like, you're just doing that just to show the audience this conversation so you can see him not react, so they can go into his like powers of, the mind probe like a Vulcan does, to go in and get his memory and teach him, help remind him what happened in Order 66. So he's bringing him to this traumatic experience. I guess, and that scene was awesome. What I realized I love about that is like it's the clone troopers, because they're like real, wearing armor and stuff. They're not CGI cartoon characters. Like the prequels, that was the problem. Like nothing was tangible, nothing was practical, and seeing them come through with dirt, grime, and grease and just like sweat, just you can see just like guys in armor like just shooting down the Jedi, and the Jedi were like fighting. It was like, that's awesome. That's what I wish the prequels looked like. I understand what Lucas was doing, whatever. He was just trying something new. But that stuff with the training, he learned how to jump. That was the extent of what he mastered. I made fun of why he's going through all this stuff, and as I thought about it later, like he puts Grogu in his backpack, and he's like, let's go for a walk, and he runs and starts jumping, doing the Dagobah flips and stuff like that. And I'm like, how is this training for Grogu? Like when Yoda was on Luke's back, Yoda was guiding, massaging his shoulders, like motivating his, like teaching him as Luke went through and did the stuff. In this one, Grogu's just going for a ride. Luke's doing the exercise, and Grogu's like, yeah, this is a good workout. He's just like nothing. But I guess he's showing him that you can enhance your jumping. He's trying to teach him how to jump. That's what all this was about. He tells him to jump. He's like, that's all you got? He can barely lift, because we want to wait till we can see Grogu jumping all over the room like Yoda did. I don't want to see that. I didn't want to see it back then. So he takes him for a run, teaches him to jump, and then at the end he pulls out the training remote, and he starts shooting at his feet, saying dance. So he like dances, jumps on the rocks and stuff, and then he uses the force to destroy the training remote. Well, I'm like, I know it's not a droid, it's a remote. It doesn't have like a brain, like a mind, like a regular droid does. Like if you just smash like R2D2, that's like, oh, you just broke a person, But I don't know. Luke applauded his accomplishment in doing that. The best scene in the whole episode was his conversation with Ahsoka. It was intriguing because she says, so much like your father, or whatever the line is. And it's like, that's a good scene because it reminds me, like, holy crap, this is a character that has spent a lot of intimate, personal, one-on-one time with Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. And Luke had, he had no connection, no experience, no interaction with his father. So him going back and studying the historical records of like his military, Anakin's military career, or the history of the Clone Wars, and the all the things that Darth Vader did in the Empire, like that's like just learning some facts about him, but like knowing who he really is. Ahsoka's the one person that can really talk to him about that. It's fascinating. It's mind blowing. That would have been a great use of time to have him spend some time with Grogu and Ahsoka, like around a campfire or whatever. And as he's trying to talk about introducing him like to the dark side, right? Because that was one of the very first things that was brought up when Luke was talking to Obi-Wan about the Force for the first time, talking to Grogu about the dark side. And then you have Ahsoka, who cryptically in front of Grogu is saying, yeah, there was another great Jedi who fell to the dark side, and using similar language to what Obi-Wan would have used for nostalgia purposes. And then Luke like having an emotional reaction to like her talking about his father, and like them kind of like a conversation that's like a winking conversation, not to make it cheesy and dorky, but like that could have been a very emotional and powerful scene where I would have been like, wow, this chemistry between these two characters, this relation, these interactions, that's fascinating. Never would have had that anywhere else. But him just jumping around the forest with Grogu, yeah, the CGI looks great, and the different lighting and everything, the things they've accomplished with recreating a younger Luke, it's great. I even think his age, he seems a little bit younger still than he was in the Return of the Jedi. And that's the thing a lot of people complained about the Rise of Skywalker when they did the flashback sequence with young Luke. He seemed like Empire Strikes Back Luke, or even before. He's a little too young, but he's better. He's fine. I don't have complaints about Luke. Except for his voice. He's very dry monologue, just very, just no inflection, no up and down. It's just like, he's like a cutscene. He's just giving out the information and moving on. And I know that they have to do a little bit of computerization with Mark Hamill's voice to do it. I'm going to give him that. But Luke wasn't like a mindless, just a monk. He after Return of the Jedi, I mean, look at who he was in The Rise of Skywalker, right? Or in Last Jedi. Very quirky, fun, back to his old Luke Skywalker self. This guy is like, I don't know who he is. I don't know what he's doing. But I don't like that he's addicted to animals, and I don't understand. He has that line about when he gives the ultimatum, like, if you choose the chainmail, then I'm going to send you back with Mandalorian. You'll never be a Jedi, and then that's it. If you choose the lightsaber, then I'm going to train you to be the first Padawan of this new Jedi Academy, and you'll never see the Mandalorian again. It's like, hello. Even back in the old ways, like, Yoda was friends with Padme, with Queen Amidala. Obi-Wan had friendships with, like, Jar Jar. Like, you can have associations and friendships, and even though they have a strong bond between Grogu and the Mandalorian, like, it doesn't, like, Anakin had a serious strong bond with Padme, but they still trusted him to go and do missions and do things to help her out. It's just, where is this complete absolute choice coming from? Like, it doesn't make sense in the old ways of the Jedi, and it doesn't make sense in the new Luke kind of like shooting from the hips, trying to figure this stuff out as he goes. All it teaches me is that, yeah, he's a crappy teacher, just like we see in the Last Jedi. He was a failure as a teacher. I don't know. It's not. I'm not going to say it's not my Luke Skywalker. It's fine, but I really don't understand the motivations behind these, other than they're trying to say Grogu needs to not be at the temple when the Knights of Ren kill everyone. That's where we're going to. We need to get Baby Yoda, Grogu in the chainmail in the back of the Naboo starfighter, so that we can round out him being the little buddy for the Mandalorian in their little escapades or adventures. I don't know. I just don't like that. I don't understand that. I don't think Luke's behavior in this is very. It doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna say it's not true to character, but they haven't really explained how and why. He says, a moment for you is a whole lifetime for someone else. Well, why does that mean that you're like? Wouldn't that be even easier for attachment? Like, for him to spend some time with the bounty hunter, even say hi. Like he's gonna be like, oh, I've completely relapsed in my getting over being friends and having this connection with another being. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I don't buy all that stuff. And we spent a lot of time with him running through the forest and meditating and lifting frogs, not rocks, frogs. And I don't really understand what the point was. I mean, we were just showing that Luke has the comment that I don't think he's really in it. He's not in it all the way or whatever. Great. So we understand the motivations. You could have done that scene, all that stuff in like 10 minutes, including the conversation around the fire, like all that stuff. I think they just spent so much time here that wasn't necessary, that we could have like made this story, because this episode drags. You could have made this story a little more upbeat, tighten it up just a little bit, and because I know that stuff's expensive for them, it's expensive to make them create a young Luke Skywalker, and it looks fantastic. I hope they go back and do him better, fix up what they did in The Mandalorian. That would be amazing. Have him look like this and there. And why does he pull out his lightsaber? Like Grogu's doing his little Karate Kid crane balancing technique so he can handle standing on the piers on the beach. And Luke just busts out his lightsaber and starts doing his little kata. Like, I'm just thinking like he's just really bored, trying to watch a little Yoda like stand on a stump for hours. So he's like, I'm bored. I'm gonna pull out my lightsaber and flash it around. He just did that just for the audience, just because everyone freaked out when we saw the lightsaber last time. It doesn't make sense. I don't like it. It was just all member berries stuff, is what it really felt like. There's a lot of intriguing concepts, though, with him talking to Ahsoka. I like the idea that Grogu has to choose, picking this bond. Maybe he's not really in it. Maybe he was too damaged from the flashback, which was awesome. Like I said, the flashback and what he experienced in the Order 66 stuff, maybe that was too much, that he doesn't want to and doesn't need to embrace the ways of the Jedi. Great. That's interesting. That's a good motivation for the character and a good deterrent, and a good way to get him, a good reason to get him with the Mandalorian. But just this, where he's like, I'm going to give you the blue pill and the red pill, and you can either go back to your old life or you can go into a new life. I don't like it. The Cad Bane stuff was pretty cool. I decided I do like the idea that where the spice running, the criminal activity running in and out of Tatooine, that's why the crime syndicate there, Jabba the Hutt, was so powerful and known throughout the galaxy, was because he was the head of this big pocket of trafficking, back and forth smuggling, and all kinds of stuff. And now we have the marshals trying to just maintain peace in these small territories and trying to keep out this criminal activity. Okay, they're trying to clean up Tatooine. I like that. And then Cad Bane comes in and shoots the two marshals and takes them out and makes the phrase like, as long as everyone stays in your huts, the butchers, the people with the butcher stores, I can't remember what they're called in the westerns, we're gonna run through and do our stuff, just everyone stay out of the way, and then everyone will be fine. It's that old western threat. You have to have the young gunslingers come in and like take out the people at the meat stores. So anyway, it's I like it. It's great what they did. I love that they made Luke Skywalker look so great. I just don't like that we spend so much time doing this stuff. And if it's like this or nothing, then trim it down. We didn't need so much of it. And the motivations don't make sense. Anyway, that's my thoughts. We'll see where they go in the next episode. Is it enough to redeem this series? Absolutely not. I don't care what happens in the next episode. I'm not blown away by this series, and there's nothing. And Boba Fett didn't say a single line in this, and that's the other thing. I'm tired of what's her name, Chun-Li, assassin character. She's like running all the conversations and dialogue like she's this masterful criminal organization orator. What is that? Like, why is she the one? She's usually the boss. The crime boss is the one that gives the speeches and everything. He's just like there. He's like just one of the thugs. This might as well be her criminal organization. I wouldn't be upset if Boba Fett died in the next episode and she just took over. She seems more qualified and more cutthroat to do it. Anyway, all right, those are wild thoughts. Shorter version, not too much shorter, but shorter version on Boba Fett. From the desert comes a stranger who wasn't a stranger. We all know